What's up everybody, this is Jack from Crypto49er, bringing you my knowledge in cryptocurrency. Today I want to talk about the Gekko Trading Bot and using the Parabolic SAR. So as I mentioned in a previous video, the Parabolic SAR is very easy to understand. You buy one of these little dots right here. Let me zoom in a little bit. So you see this, in this case, the little plus signs. So when you buy when the little plus sign is actually below the price, and then you just sell when the little plus signs are above the price, as you see it here. So for this particular example, you would have bought around 86.97, and then you would have sold at 10,761. So a nice gain of roughly 23.58%. Not bad at all. So one thing you have to realize is that the Parabolic SAR, actually, it's okay. It works decent for bull market like the one we're in right now, but it really works much better in the bear market, as you can see here, where it's actually still giving you a chance to completely avoid like this crazy bear part right here back in November of last year, where it just started tanking. Was that 6,000, remember? And then it just tanked all the way down to 3,000. So this whole part here is already telling you don't buy. Like basically, you just sold right here and just like wait until over here and buy around December, and then make some profit right here and basically sell and avoid this whole process again, so on and so forth. So it's really good at making these small gains even through bear markets. Obviously there are portions right here where it's just kind of flat, so you were not gonna make any profit. You're probably gonna lose maybe 5 to 10% from making these flat trades over here. But overall, when you do make wins, you are making like roughly 20% at least, and then you're missing all that downtrend. So just by following the Parabolic SAR that way, you're already gonna be pretty successful, I would say. So now there's actually quite a bit of reading you guys have to do if you want to understand the Parabolic SAR. I mean, the gist of it is very simple, but I would definitely recommend reading the articles from Investopedia, from Stock Charts, and I found this one from the Balance, so you guys should read them all, I would suggest. And I'll probably go over a little bit of one or two of these articles because of how they pair certain indicators with the Parabolic SAR. One other thing I want to point out with the stock charts article is that they actually let you play the article in audio format.
Parabolic SAR. Introduction. Developed by Wells Wilder.
So this is pretty cool. I mean, it's something that is from Amazon Poly. You guys want to check that out and find out what that is. I played with that in the past. It's basically a text-to-speech service that they developed to help with their Amazon Alexa services. So anyway, back to the Parabolic SAR. So what I'm going to show you guys today is something that was created by a member on the Gekko forum called mutenroch. Not sure if I'm pronouncing it correctly, but just want to give a shout out, give a thanks to him for creating the indicator for Gekko. So basically he had the code right here, the code for the indicator, and the code for the basic strategy with it. So, and it even has a TLML file. I'm gonna go over the basic indicator right now, what it really does. So like it's very straightforward actually. It shows you the three things that it really needs in terms of the indicator. It needs the acceleration, the maximum, and the start. So I actually tweaked the chart on TradingView a little bit. So the settings are 0.02 for the start, and 0.01 for the increment, and 0.1 for the max. So you read these articles in here, as I mentioned before, they'll explain what each of those things are. So essentially, Parabolic SAR, and let me explain what Parabolic SAR means. So Parabolic SAR means is what you see in stocks and cryptocurrency is a lot of times you see this huge drop. So this huge drop forms what is kind of like a parabola. So where it's like a parabola is like a U shape. So what happened is with this parabolic move where it goes downward like this and then curves back up. I mean, because it was just a corrective phase at that point, it wasn't going to curve back up like a complete U. So curving up, curving down like this. And then what SAR stands for is stop and reverse. So what this indicator does is it's going to tell you when this trend is going to stop and it's going to reverse back up. So that's what Parabolic SAR stands for. So in the indicator, you have, again, just the different fields that's needed, and the different fields that gets update from gets the update from the candle and has all those things populated: the candle close, the low high, the low one, the high one, the low two, and the high two. So that's what it needs to actually calculate the parabolic SAR. And there's actually a positive parabolic SAR and a negative parabolic SAR. So positive is when it's above the price, and negative when it's below the price. The indicator that mutenroch wrote essentially only calculates the positive, because essentially what it does is, because based on my understanding anyway, it doesn't actually, the way he has the strategy use his indicator is that it doesn't actually look like the way the chart does, where it actually looks at the value of each of the plus signs in here, where they are at. It's really just looks specifically at whether or not these plus signs are below the price or above the price. So if it's below the price, you buy, and if it's once it's above the price, you sell. That's all it cares about. Again, when it's below the price, that's when it's a bull trend, and when it's above the price, that's when it's a bear trend. So in his code here, he doesn't even have a bear, so there's no this dot bear. It's just really this dot bull, and that's it. So anything that's not this dot bull equal to this dot bear. So what he does here in this strategy, so this is the strategy now. So he's to go and add the indicator, the PSAR indicator in here when you initialize the strategy. And then inside the check method, he just sets this dot bow equals to this dot indicator dot PSAR dot bow. That's all it is. It's a true false value. If it's true, you buy, and otherwise, you sell. That's basically it. So so if this dot bow is true, you so you buy this dot advice is long, so you buy. Else you would just say this dot advice is short, so you sell. So that's that simple. Very, very, very straightforward. This strategy requires only 58 lines of code, and probably a few lines that you might not even need, like these right here, to reset this dot advice. I actually ran a backtest of this using a Gekko UI, and it looks like just on the very basic backtest of Ethereum from the very beginning on Coinbase to last year September, before crypto fell another 50%. But overall, it was still falling a lot already at that point. And just setting this strategy and running it, it shows you that it made 911%. Granted, again, the market made 1,927%, meaning if you bought and hold, you would have made more. You made twice as much. But at least it shows you that it is a net positive strategy. So it's not that it's not going to lose money, that's for sure, but it's something that there's definitely room for perfecting, for improvement. So, but you see a lot of trades in here, and most of the trades are positive. So there's some trades, obviously you're losing some money in here, some of these 15%. So, but the gains are like pretty substantial, like this one right here, 131%, and then some of these like 49%, basically close to 50% gains. And then you have, again, this is probably the biggest loser right here, the 25% loss, and some of these stack up together, like the last last five trades that were all losses, and that's probably not good. So yeah, when it goes going downhill. So these are like settings that we probably could tweak. So maybe if I tweak the settings like I did in TradingView, it probably would perform even better. So, but just the basic setup already shows you that this is a net positive strategy. So now, when you guys read through these articles, they actually also explain what you should use the parabolic SAR with. So what they recommended here is ADX. So basically, Parabolic SAR was created by J. Wells Wilder, and he created the most famous one, obviously, RSI and Parabolic SAR and the ADX. So they're saying basically pair up the Parabolic SAR with the ADX, the average directional index, to confirm a particular trend is actually happening. And I believe in other articles, I think it was in Stock Charts right here, where they actually recommended you also pair it up with a simple moving average, I believe. No, actually it was in the balance article here. So they actually suggest you pair up with a moving average. That's basically what I did here in this version. It's called a PSAR-SMA. So essentially it's the same exact code as mutenroch's PSAR strategy. The only difference is now I added the SMA indicator right over here, and then I just check it in the check function to buy if the PSAR is bull. And in addition, it also needs that the candle price has to be greater than the SMA. So, and I think I set the SMA to 21 candles, and since I'm running this on a daily basis, it is 21 days. So let me go to the strategy right here. So this is the ADX. I actually have both. So this is the SMA right here. So in the SMA version that I modified, and the backtest here shows you that, and I did run it on a 21-day window link for the SMA. So the results are better. So for some reason, I guess because of the duration change, so the market was only 1,441% gains, but with this modification, I'm able to get this PSAR plus SMA strategy to outperform the market. So that's pretty important. Obviously, we want to just beat the market rather than just then be holding on the whole entire 2+ years. If you just did a buy and hold strategy, you want to beat that strategy, and that's what it does in here. So very simple, straightforward thing. I was able to beat it. I was able to make 1,724%. So it's pretty good, I have to say. It's like it avoided some of the bigger losses that we saw in the simple PSAR strategy, and it didn't get those 25% losses. I mean, it still racked up a few losses in a row, like here, and also towards the end when it was falling. So still rack up a total probably close to 25%. This one right here, but it doesn't have a single loss of 25% like it previously did. So now, as promised, there is a PSAR ADX version. So ADX is average directional index. I covered that in a previous video. You guys should definitely check it out. With the PSAR ADX, is again very simple. You just need to add the indicator ADX in the strategy here, and in addition, same exact way to call it, right? So instead of calling it for the bull market, I only called it not the bull so much. Instead of using the ADX during the buy section, I'm using the ADX to confirm that the trend has ended, or the trend that is a strong trend, the way that a particular sell position is initiated. So basically, this is a sell call, right? So else if meaning at this point is no longer a bull signal. So the PSAR is not giving a bull signal, meaning that the price is above. Actually, no, the PSAR indicator is above the price at this point. So now, if it's above the price, we are using the ADX to check if it is a strong trend. So if it's a strong trend, meaning that this is not like a fake out where it's going to go down a little bit and it's going to come right back up, because that can sometimes happen. So, but in this case, so I'm using the ADX for that particular purpose. And when I ran the backtest with this PSAR-ADX, this is the result I was getting. So with this here, so again, I changed the warm-up period a little bit longer to 11. So actually, it was originally 21. 21 was the longest, so guys, that was how long needed for the SMA. So, but in the ADX, you only need 11 period based on these settings I have set up here. So when I did that, I only made 987%. And again, this is back to the fact that the market, again, it's because it's a shorter time frame. It was making more. So at this point, 1,782%. And you are not beating the market at this point. You're still net positive, but not beating the market. So pretty much the same, roughly the same as the basic strategy. So I mean, to see even, yeah, again, it still had these 25% losses. So almost perform exactly the same as the original strategy. So I would say the ADX by itself doesn't work that well, or perhaps it might need more tweaking in terms of the using how I'm using the ADX. So, but that's the PSAR strategy, the PSAR indicator, how you use it in Gekko, and the strategies that accompany it. So just for reference, I also included some backtests on the same time frame with the RSI bull bear strategy. So RSI bull bear ADX, the one that pretty much got me started in using Gekko because of just how ridiculously profitable it was showing. But if you run it on a daily chart wise, like I did with the PSAR or the Parabolic SAR indicator, you'll see that it actually performs horribly. I mean, it's still net positive at the end of the day, so you're not losing money, but you are practically losing opportunity because you barely double. You didn't even double your money, and at the same time, if you held it, you would have 10x your money simply by holding on to Ethereum in this case. So that's why I did very poorly. It only made 2 trades, both positive. And it showed you 300%. It seems a little confusing at first. It's like when it made 300%, 11% should have been 311%, not 96%. Problem is it's bought here right at the peak. Not would say peak, right as it was starting to fall more. So at this point, what they're calculating is if you bought in here, how much would you have lost if you sold at the end of this period? Meaning if you sold at the end of this period, you will only have made 96%. So basically this 311% gain got cut almost by more than 2/3 into 96% because of how much has lost from this point on to the end of the backtest. So yeah, so RSI bull bear ADX does not do well in terms of a daily backtest. In terms of well, not daily backtest, like a backtest based on a daily candle size. So I obviously have to tweak it. I just want to tweak it to make it trade a bit more. And so this is a tweaked version of RSI bull bear ADX. I mean, tweaked as in just tweaking the parameters. I didn't change the strategy itself. Strategy was exactly the same. I just tweaked some of the settings in here, and I was able to make it trade more at 12 trades, and it made 163%, so more than double your money. But it still performed very bad compared to the market. And you can see that at this point it's starting to have losses as well, as like a huge 26% loss. Coupled with some of the bigger gains, what it really saved the profit levels because it sold early right here. I wouldn't say early, it just sold at a loss, a roughly 26% loss, but it exited out of the market and you weren't taking in more losses because you were holding on like it did in the original settings. So, but that shows you that the PSAR indicator it's performing better. That the indicator and strategy is performing better than the simple RSI bull bear ADX strategy. So for the daily level, anyway. I mean, this is just for reference at this point. I mean, I honestly say I don't use RSI bull bear ADX on a daily basis because it just doesn't really work in the market. I just seen it too many times where it doesn't execute in live trade like it does in backtest. So one of the reasons why I believe is because of the very low time frame that it's using. Is using like I think I was previously using the RSI bull bear ADX at like a 5-minute time frame. And I think I have seen people use it between 15 to an hour, and that's probably still too low a level. So that's why I'm looking at something like a daily candle, where in a 24-hour basis, your buy or sell order should completely execute in that 24-hour time frame, I believe. But again, I can't say for sure that will happen, but I believe there should be enough volume in any of the top 10 crypto. Gekko should be able to execute your trade. based on the volume, based on the time frame that you have set up. And it should execute relatively within the price point too, so that I don't think you'll be missing out on the price by too much. I mean, that's my guess. I haven't really traded it on a daily candle like that, but at least something on the backtest wise, you know for sure that there is enough volume in place for any particular trade to happen within the next candle. So that is my video today for the Parabolic SAR. One thing I want to point out is that for me to actually get the Parabolic SAR to work, I actually downloaded a new version of Gekko, the most up-to-date version from Mike. So, but when I was trying to use it, I wasn't able to get the dependencies installed, mainly because I noticed that Mocha.ch has Green Gekko, what he has put together, uses a different version of Node, and that can cause a problem in terms of backward compatible. So basically, yes, Green Gekko itself is backward compatible with regular Gekko, but in order to run the two, or to at least to install the dependency needed, you would need to have NVM. So basically, NVM is, I believe it's called Node Version Manager. I mean, I might be just making that up, but that's my understanding of what NVM stands for, and it'll let you install and use whatever version of Node you need to use at the point in time when you are installing the dependencies. So definitely check out this article. This article helped me a lot in terms of figuring out which version of Node I needed to switch to, because I did have multiple versions of Node already installed using NVM. I just needed to follow the instructions here to be able to switch between the different versions. And it's pretty straightforward. I think this is right here. This is how you use it. So you say NVM use 8.94 or NVM use 9.3, depending on what version you have installed. And you can run a certain command, I think right here, to show you what version you have currently installed. That's right here, listing install instances. So NVM ls. So this just lists all the different versions you have. So I had something similar when I saw that. I knew which version I installed for using Green Gekko and which version I previously installed to run the standard Gekko. So this helped me to switch a different version, and I was able to get around the problem I was having where after I installed the new version of Gekko, a new build anyway, I couldn't install the SQLite dependency. I think it just wouldn't compile. So yeah, after I reverted back to older version of Node, everything worked fine. So definitely check out this article. And finally, just want to thank all my patrons again for supporting me. And again, I only have one level currently, a $2 level, for you guys to get access to my monthly articles on how to make money pretty much in the crypto market. So just $2 a month. And in addition to getting access to the article, I also like to give thanks to all of you guys. Like the latest patron, Ricardo Flores. Thank you again, Ricardo. And Poseidon 70 BTC. He's been a very generous patron. When I was having multiple patron levels that I was given access to, I had available because I wasn't working at that point in time. So as well as to Shoot, Brian Pierce, Alejandro Jimenez, Zany, Roy, Wise Raging, all of you guys, thank you very much. Again, if it isn't crypto, it isn't worth mining, it isn't worth speculating. Peace out.